It's Do Time with Pastor Steph.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rise and shine. You're on with this Do Time with Pastor Steph. How are you this morning? That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. For this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So, where were you yesterday? Yesterday was Let's Talk About It Tuesday, Church Folk Day. And we talked about the 20-year-old woman who had been abused and mistreated with her sister almost all their life, since even before the age of 10. And when she got to be older, her father arranged for her to have a marriage. She comes from a country where they do arranged marriages. Well, she decided that she would pick her own husband. And her father was livid and decided, along with her uncle, to have her tortured and raped. And it was by her cousins. Yes, they bragged about it, and that's how everybody found out that it was them. Well, that wasn't good enough, because they felt that she had disgraced the family. They decided to kill her. So they strangled her with some shoelaces. Now, here in America, that's just not something that we do. We don't arrange marriages and things like that. And, it's unfortunate that, some women do experience that in other countries. And we, talked about the fact that, get them over here is one thing, for them to apply to come here to America is one thing. But at the end of the day, what are we doing for them? Are we offering them some help? In this domestic violence and abuse area? Are there agencies that help them? And even if there were, would they even seek the help? Would they even be brave or courageous enough to just take the help that may have even been offered to them? So this is some really, really serious situation that we have going on, not only in other countries, but here, because when they come here, a lot of them are still subject to the same customs that they endured back home. And we've done stories right here on this Do Time of that mistreatment, that cultural behavior that comes over here. And, what do you do? So Shantice raised a very good point yesterday. She said, stand up, God's people. And the word of God does say that if my people who are called by my name would just humble themselves and fix their evil ways, then I will hear and heal the land. So come on, my brothers and sisters in Christ. Let's get this job done. Let's pray for this country. Let's pray for ourselves. Is it in our face and we're not paying any attention to it? Is it in our face, but we just don't even recognize it? We have a large job to do. So let's go. Let's get busy. Let's get on God's job. There's work to be done in the vineyard. So they say in the Bible, the harvest is ripe, but the laborers are few. So let's get going, okay? All righty. Well, today is Wow Wednesday, everybody. And we are so grateful to have made it to the middle of the week. And we about to get this party started because our girlfriend Vivian is sitting back waiting for her socially conscious opportunity. We have no idea what she's going to bring to us today, but In the interim, go ahead and get that healthy breakfast. Go ahead and tell somebody, anybody, everybody that It's Due Time with Pastor Steph is on. And whatever you do, don't go anywhere because we will be right back.
This is why you need to know Augustus Jackson, the man who turned ice cream into a universal delight. Born in 1808, Jackson started young, cooking for US presidents at just 9 years old. But his real magic began when he left the White House for Philadelphia. Here, he revolutionized ice cream by creating the eggless recipe we still use today. Before Jackson, ice cream was a luxury for the rich. His ingenious use of salt lowered the freezing point, making it easier to produce and more affordable. He sold his creations in metal tins to local black-owned parlors, democratizing dessert. Jackson's legacy isn't just in the flavors, but in the joy and accessibility of ice cream itself. His passion for bringing people together over a shared love for ice cream has made it more than a treat. So next time you enjoy a scoop, remember Augustus Jackson, the man who
Good morning, and good morning again. Welcome back to It's Due Time with Pastor Steph, and it is Wow Wednesday. Giving God thanks that we have made it safely to the middle of the week, and we are going to give God thanks that while everybody else is trying to figure out what they're going to do on hump day, how they're going to get to the other side, God has given us Wow Wednesday. And Socially Conscious segment is here with our girl Vivian. Let's say good morning.
Good morning. Happy Wow Wednesday. How are you, Pastor Steph?
I am well, thank you, Vivian. How are you?
I am cold. But
I know it's freezing outside. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, thank you so much for shivering on behalf of us. What you got for us today?
All right. Today on Socially Conscious, we are starting off with an update on the flu numbers. New York City say flu cases are finally showing a decline after weeks of intense activity. But they stress that the trend does not mean the flu season is over and that influenza continues to circulate at high levels. Recent data from the city shows more than 8,000 new lab-reported cases for the week ending in January 10, adding to a season total well over 136,000 confirmed flu infections locally so far. On the national front, the Centers for Disease Control Prevention estimates that at least 18 million Americans have been sickened by the flu this season, with roughly 230,000 hospitalizations and about 9,300 deaths attributed to flu this season nationwide. Officials are emphasizing that it can be unpredictable and are calling on us, those who haven't yet done so to get vaccinated. If you're into that, especially people who are older, they're saying that although dropping down, please, 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 please make sure that you are still taking the necessary precautions, such as washing your hands, making sure you're keeping surfaces clean and free of germs, and just that regular stuff that you can do to make sure that you are keeping yourself and those around you safe from the flu. Next, we have New York City, who wants you to know that the New York State is planning a temporary of all Department of Motor Vehicle offices next month as part of a major technology overhaul aimed at modernizing its decade-old system. According to DMV announcements, all in-person offices, all phone lines, and all online services will close at 2 p.m. on Friday, February 13th, and remain unavailable through February 17th, with services expected to resume on Wednesday, February 18th. Officials say this planned closure is necessary to implement a new streamlined system that will eventually make transactions easier and faster for New Yorkers, allowing many services to be completed online or with improved efficiency. Customers are being urged to complete urgent DMV business such as license or ID renewals before mid-February, when they're going to shut down, since nothing will be processed during the closure period. So if you are out there and your ID is about to expire, your license is about to expire, or you need a real ID to travel, make sure you're getting this done as soon as possible, because everything is being shut down come mid-February. Next, we have an update on a story that we've been following. Previously, we talked about the student loan payments, how they were becoming unfrozen, and borrowers who fell behind could face wage garnishment, seize tax refunds as well. Now, the U.S. Department of Education says it has temporarily paused wage garnishment and tax refund seizures for people who are behind on their federal student loans. Officials say the pause is meant to give borrowers more time to figure out a repayment plan, like income-based repayment plans, loan rehabilitation, or a consolidation loan, without immediately losing part of their paycheck or their tax refund. So as of now, there's no set date as to when this pause will end. The Education Department says collections will remain on hold while new repayment options and reforms are being rolled out, and they are strongly encouraging any borrowers who have fallen behind on their federal student loans to take advantage of this window and get back on track before garnishments resume. So if you're one of those people, make sure you take advantage of this opportunity and get yourself together so that when they do start garnishing, you do not fall victim of that. And now we have our wow story of the week, which is a listener submitted story. They're saying an 18-year-old former daycare worker in Minnesota named Thea Russell has been arrested and charged after authorities say she intentionally suffocated 2 infants while working at a childcare center. According to investigators, Ms. Russell admitted during questioning that she intentionally harmed the children, and when asked why she did it, she said she did it for attention. Authorities say this admission aligned with a troubling pattern they later uncovered about her past, which included false 911 calls, where at least one of those 911 calls resulted in first responders actually coming out to the scene only to realize that it was not an actual emergency. And she has shown other erratic behaviors in her past that resulted in this pattern being undiscovered. They're saying that she has had attention seeking behaviors before she even worked at the daycare. Police say Russell confessed to suffocating an 11-month-old boy named Harvey Mucklebus, who later died of his injuries. She also admitted to harming a 4-month-old girl who thankfully survived that attack and is now recovering. Investigators say the case came together after these two incidences happened and resulted in emergency calls coming to the daycare. She was the only common denominator at these two scenes, so they began the investigation on her, only to find out that it was her, and she confessed and what her reasoning was. Authorities say there is no evidence of additional victims as of right now, but the case has raised serious concerns about the childcare hiring process, supervision, and background checks that are necessary when employing someone at a childcare facility. But this has been Vivian with Socially Conscious, giving you the news that we are following. And remember, if you have any wild stories you would like to submit, please feel free to direct message me on Facebook. My username there is Vivian BM, and come back every Wednesday to find out if your story has been chosen. Thank you as always to our loyal viewers and listeners, and thank you, Pastor Steph.
Girl, you never cease to amaze us. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Thank you. Get out the cold. Thank you so much for your contribution into today's conversation. And we pray you have a blessed and warm day. Thank you. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Well, let's go back. You know, we got some check-ins to do. We got to get our girl Vivian on early, so we don't have time to say good morning first. But here I am. Here you are. If you're in the room, let Pastor Steph know. Other than that, I can't shout you out. I want to say good morning to our girl, Ketty. Hey, Ketty girl. Thank you so much for joining us. We got to check in from our boy, Terrence. Good morning, my king. How are you? Thank you so much for joining us. Where's mom? Please let her know we miss her. We love her. We got to check in from my boy, Serge. Hey, Serge. Thank you so much for joining us. We got our girl, Tamika, checking in, but she's back there waiting to get her choppers going. Good morning, good morning, and good morning. We got to check in from Miss Grace this morning. Good morning, Miss Grace. Oh, we pray you are warm and toasty. You get in and you get out. Have a safe trip. Terrence says now they're worrying about childcare hiring process. Wow. Yeah, Terrence. We're gonna get to that conversation. We got to check in from our boy Brian. What's going on, Brian? Thank you so much for joining us. Good morning. We got to check in from Miss Herlima. Good morning, Miss Herlima. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We've got a check-in from Mary. Good morning, Mary. Thank you so much for dropping by and saying hello. All of you, hang out for with us for a little while. Join some of this conversation. We would love to have you. We can't go any further without saying good morning to the ladies who make sure that we are in your eye each and every morning. Let's say good morning to our girl Shantice. Hey. And let's say good morning to our girl Anika. Good morning. Good morning. All righty. Well, let's get to talking about this socially conscious news. All righty. Where's our girl, Tamika? Let's say good morning to Lady Tamika.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I am well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, but I have my little handy dandy blanket. Don't be surprised if you see me on my shoulder every now and then, because baby is cold outside.
Yes, yes, yes. Good morning. Good morning. We got a check-in from Linda who says, I just woke up and started seeing this. Well, good morning, Linda, and we hope you stay a while so you can join the conversation. This is Wow Wednesday for all of you who don't know. And we've just gotten our socially conscious news from our girl Vivian, and we're about to chat about it. So come on and join the conversation. Let's say good morning to our girl Shantice. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
I am well, thank you. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Good. So before we get started, I just want to make an announcement to everybody that yesterday, our Pastor KL had an accident. Thank God it's not worse than what it could have been. But, look at what happens. He has it on a Tuesday where he doesn't have to show up on a Wednesday morning over here on his due time. So let's keep him in our prayers. I'm sure he's going to be achy today. And if he chooses to tell you all what happened, then God spares. When he's on, he can let us know. But he is okay. And we'll just put okay. All righty. So please keep him lifted in your prayers. All right, ladies, where we getting started? All right, Vivian is talking about those updates on those flu numbers. Well, finally, they are declining. Thank God, but not before it hit over 100,000 sick people. And they're talking about us still making sure we take the proper precautions to make sure that it's not spreading. So blow your nose with tissue, get ready to tissue, cover your mouth, wash your hands, wear your mask. For the last few times I've been going out, I've been making sure to keep my mask on. But, they're still talking about, listen, it's not over. It's slowing, but it's not over. Lady Tamika, are you happy to hear that the numbers are finally coming down?
I'm happy to hear that the numbers are finally coming down, but it's just people in general. Yesterday alone, just yesterday by itself, I had to take the subway and had to run an errand, and just things that you see. These are the people that you meet as you're walking down the street. The people, like I was getting ready to, put some money on my Omni card, and I watched this guy go, and then he stuck his hand on the Omni machine, and I'm going, this is one. And then when I got halfway to where I was going, I watched somebody do what they call the New Jersey blow, where you stick your finger on one nostril. Blow. I was just like, okay, please. So, are the numbers changing because more people are staying at home, or, what's the case? Because you still see little nastiness everywhere you go. And we just have to pray and, govern ourselves. You have to watch for you, make sure that, when you go from one place to another, wash your hands. When you get ready to go back into your home, wash your hands. We understand that sanitizer is, let me let you know, just for those who don't know, sanitizer is not the same thing as soap. If you're out and about and you cannot get access to water and soap, that's for that time, but when you get to a place when you have access to soap, please use it.
Brian is like, wait, the New Jersey what? Oh, goodness gracious. Well, that was my first time hearing that it was called the New Jersey anything. So I'm with you, Brian. I never heard that called the New Jersey something. Shantice, are you happy to hear the numbers are coming down? Now, can we ease up? Because that's what happens with people. They start easing up when they hear that the numbers are not as bad.
No, excuse me. No, unfortunately, that does not mean ease up. That means stay in your house even more. Because again, we don't know. We haven't gone out to take the survey ourselves. We don't know. People out there is still spreading germs. I'm still seeing adults, as Lady Tamika just said, just do things that are like, were you just born earlier? Like, no one taught you nothing. You know it's the winter time. Leave your house with tissue. You know, it's not like it's the summertime or the spring and maybe your allergies just sprung up on you. Even then, you have allergies, leave your house with tissue. You cannot just, no. It means be even more aware, because now it's like, it gets your guard down. And the next thing you know, it's like, oh, surge is back up. Yep, flu season is back in again. No, people are not doing what they should do.
Oh, he's gonna take advantage because KL's not here. Because Pastor KL is here. Oh my goodness gracious. Yep. Listen, I was at the doctor's office yesterday, and like you said, Lady Tamika, I saw some stuff, and I'm like, yo, are we just not paying attention? Oh, here's a thought. Here's a thought. Have we become so lax in our just practices that it doesn't even matter? We'll just do these things. And then that's where my head goes. We're trying to make sure that we keep one another safe, not just our own selves, but each other. And I'm looking at some of the stuff and I'm like, oh. And one thing I love about NYU, Presbyterian, and Mount Sinai, when I tell you those areas are clean, they keep soap, they keep sanitizer, they keep hot water. You are loaded when you actually go to any one of their offices. So like you said, Lady Tamika, they load you up on the soap. And I'm so grateful that everything is just clean and you don't have to worry about being in it's bad enough you're dealing with people's nasty habits, but then when you go and deal with nasty bathrooms, and offices. So it's good to actually see it. It makes you feel a little more safe. But when you actually look around the room, you actually realize how unsafe you really are. So come on, everybody, let's do what we need to do. Let's help one another. Vivian really, she's been listing deaths. This is not just people getting sick. These people have died from what they're saying is caused by the flu. So let's make sure we keep our hygiene and our health practices together. Okay. Well,
I'm sorry.
New York State. I'm sorry.
I apologize. But you would also think after we just came from COVID and how many lives were affected, from just unsanitary stuff, you would think by now that we should have a clue, especially New York.
Right.
Because we had people literally dying in their homes, and we're now here we go and we're doing it again.
That's why I ask the question. It comes to my head. Are you just that lax that even with us having a surge here in this flu season, that it doesn't even matter? You just do what you do, and who cares? I'm not thinking about it. I just do what I normally do, and that's it. Terrence says people get too comfortable after COVID, got too comfortable after COVID. They assume COVID is gone, which COVID is a flu. It's whatever. They're not seeing people dying as much as they did before. So now they've become too comfortable. And I agree. It's like, it doesn't matter. So that's why I said, let's get on the ball. Let's remember that we are all still able to contaminate one another, and we can be contaminated. So I think when we start thinking about that, maybe then it'll kind of ring a bell. So New York State is getting a boost in the DMV system. As everybody knows, we've been on like electronic. Ever since COVID, you can no longer just walk up into the DMV offices, at least not here in New York anymore. And what they're doing is they're taking a boost and they're getting all of their systems up and running, improved. So they will be officially closed February 13th from 2 o'clock all the way through the 17th. So everybody needs to definitely get themselves together. If you've got any expiring ID or driver's license or anything you need to address, there will be 4 days that they will be down. Before we go any further, we do have a comment from Crystal. Good morning, Crystal. Thank you so much for joining us. She says, yes, I work in the public and I'm out with COVID. Oh, we're sorry to hear that. Oh, well, you feel better. We're hoping that you get better and that you're able to be up and running real soon. God spares. All right, but thank you for checking in. We appreciate that. So join the conversations. Hang out a while. All righty. So do you think this closing down of DMV is what it's going to take for us to get even more efficient service from them, Shantice?
That's 4 days that they're shutting down, correct?
Yeah, from the 13th through the 17th.
I mean, I'm not sure how much you'll get done in 4 days. And it would be possible considering that they've been trying to be a lot more strategic, as you stated, since COVID, where you can't just walk in, you have to have an appointment or at least a designated day and estimated time slot for you to be there. So it did help to slow down that big old crowd that would normally be at the DMV. I think that's the only way it will be possible because they already started that process. But to shut it down, I mean, unless the first thing that came to mind was, when you're going to get even more targeted. So it's like, okay, almost like a doctor's appointment. But even with that, I don't know about y'all, but going to see my PCP a lot of the times, I get so annoyed because, like, what's the point in appointments if I'm still waiting an hour, 2 hours after the appointment time? I might as well be a walk-in. For my sanity, it helps me better to just be a walk-in and have to wait. So if they're going to really do their due diligence, but there's a lot of people that need the service from the DMV. So my question is, how are you going to now itemize that? Because my guess is you're doing this to try to slow down the chaos or the crowd and everything with all of the people that need. You do have a large amount of people that will opt to still, if they can do it from home, they're going to do it from home. You know, if I can renew my license from home, whether you have a new system or not, I'm going to renew it from home. I'm one of those people. If that means I don't have to go up and be around a whole lot of people, then that's what I'm going to do. So that, I think, will help to save them as well. But I don't know. I don't know how effective it's going to be.
All righty. Mr. Lima says, I just went and waited an hour with an appointment, which is what you just got finished talking about. Attorney says, I agree with Shantice, rather not be walking in.
No, he said he'd rather be a walk-in.
Oh, I'd rather be a walk-in. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'd rather be a walk-in. All righty. Lady Tamika, do you think this will streamline the long wait at the DMV? It seems like DMV, you just go wait. It doesn't even matter. What do you think?
I was just going to say, for anybody who's ever had to go to DMV, you know, they give the, you know, little take a number thing, and you could be sitting, and it seems to us like they'll call it W546, you know, P102. I'm like, wait a minute.
Right.
What? You know, and you sit there waiting. You have absolutely no idea when your number's coming because it's all these different numbers that come in simultaneously. You know, I would love to have the effect of being able to get in and get out. You know, I remember the most recent time that I went was when they had this new change of ID, you know, and I sat only to find out that I already had what I needed. You know, I had asked them when I came in, but the lady, she was so busy, you know, directing people, and she couldn't look at my ID before I took the number to tell me that I didn't need to be there. So I had sat there for at least an hour and a half to find out.
Wow.
You know, so
wow.
If we could work that out better, it would. But then some of that, I'll just be honest, I'm a little leery for those workers, because sometimes what happens is technology replaces the employees that have been there. Now, if you're doing a good job and you're not yelling and screaming at people, because we know that at DMV, sometimes, I don't know what happens. Somebody strings a nerve, and for the rest of the day, you got an attitude, and I just got it.
Right.
So if, for those that are doing the good job and, are always being greeted with a smile, I'm hoping and praying that you will still be employed, and that you won't be replaced by technology, because technology can stream a whole lot. You create a bot that tells you what to do, and then the bot replaces you. Now you no longer have a job. So,
Right.
I fall kind of in between yes and no on that.
Okay. We have a check-in from, there's no name here, so I'm just going to say EACIV. Good morning. Thank you so much for dropping by. And she's y'all beautiful. Thank you so much for the compliment. We appreciate you. Terrence says, I can't lie. The DMV appointments are way better than the doctor's appointments. So I was trying to make a comparison before COVID, when you could just walk in, and how long the wait was. And since COVID, when you've had to make the appointment to actually get up in there. And I don't see a whole lot of difference. That was for me. I don't see a whole lot of difference. I do agree with you, Lady Tamika. My concern is, are y'all replacing people? Because I'm sorry, as much as, we love technology, everything has a kiosk now. And so I'm sorry. I do like the personal touch. And I know, you're trying to conserve dollars and things like that. But based on what it is, please don't kiosk me. I want somebody to talk to. Because sometimes, although you have the kiosk, you don't have an answer to your question. So now, like you said, I end up waiting for hours, and now I don't get my question answered. So we have a check-in from Karen. Hi, sisters. Just being a friend here. All right. Good morning. Thank you so much for stopping by, Karen. Miss Halima says it's the same. And that's what I'm saying. I don't see much of a difference, with, before and the after, even with the, the streamlining of we're, getting appointments before we could walk in and blah, 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 blah. So thank you so much for, checking in, all of you. We appreciate this, people who stop by and say good morning. We just ask that you keep your comments respectful so we can enjoy you being here. All righty. Let's see what else is up on Vivian's list here. Well, this is going to make a whole lot of people happy. Not too long ago, Vivian told us that they were going to start garnishing checks and seizing your tax refunds. And then she said, it's on. They're doing it. They are tapping your wages. They are seizing your tax refunds. And now the new word is, it's on pause for whatever the reason is. It's on pause. So for those of you who owe federal student loans and you are behind, they have put these repayment seizures on hold, and they are now allowing you to make your arrangements. So the suggestion is from them, get in there, make your arrangements, and get it done before they lift the seizure, because it will be lifted. They have not put into effect the date that they will begin to seize your wages or your tax refunds, but let's make sure you get that done, because they're giving you an opportunity to do so. Lady Tamika, is this a reprieve or is this a setup somehow?
Okay, to people who have gotten, for whatever the case, I understand that bills sometimes can catch up. But my thing is, if you know you're behind, you personally do your due diligence. This is the same thing that we went through with the rent. Some people just decided, okay, you're going to have this big blast of a barbecue. And now when they ask them for the money back, you don't have it because you spent it on the barbecue. So I would say go ahead and put that money, save that money, do whatever it is that you need to do so that when they start asking for the money, that you'll have it. Don't spend that money. Hold on to it, because otherwise it can be a setup for you.
All righty. Shantice, what say you? Do you think this is a reprieve and this is something that can be beneficial? You better jump on it.
I agree with Lady Tamika 1,000,000%. Save your money, set up whatever arrangements, start making whatever payments. Because again, your money may be looking good now, and then tomorrow that money looking funny. And this pause could be for about 4 hours, and next thing you know, you're receiving a letter talk about we need such amount by such a day. You're like, wait, what just happened? I thought y'all had switched some stuff up. So yes, set up whatever payment arrangements, start putting your dollars away, and just get it over with. Especially with this culture, we have a really bad habit of doing that. Instead of taking advantage of that opportunity, like, okay, I don't have to be under as much pressure, but let me just get this done and over with. You'll rather splurge and then wait until they now trying to choke you financially, and you're like, oh, like, no, just take care of it now, because again, they don't know how long this is gonna last.
Absolutely. Miss Herlima says that's the same thing with the phones. They need to bring the people back. When we just got finished talking about replacing the people with kiosks and things like that, and the electronic technology. And we're hoping that that's not why they're shutting down DMV. All right. Terrence says, if we got time to put money away to go to Miami, you should have time to put money away for your student loans. Our priorities are all mixed up. You hit the nail right on the head, Terrence. Let me tell you something. I always tell y'all, I used to do payroll. And baby, when I tell you some of them garnishments that come through, I'm like, yo, really? Why you just didn't pay this thing and get it over with?
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you something. The two people you don't want to mess with and owe them money, the student loan people and the I, the R, and the S. You do not want them on your back. And I think this is a wonderful reset opportunity, because once they garnish your check, you have one heck of a time backing up out of that one. And, they're calling and they're, oh, Steph, can you hold off? I'm not getting in trouble for you. Pay your debt. And no, I can't do that, because we're on the clock for how quickly we respond. They know when we get it, because remember now, nothing is via mail anymore. They send you electronic stuff. They back it up with stuff in the mail. And I have not worked in I don't know how long. So I don't even know with all this technology what other things they're doing. But once they, get your check garnished, then you have to go through several steps in order to get that undone. When you're talking about, this is tax season, y'all. If they have lifted the ban, get your taxes, pay your bill with your taxes. And that way, like everything else has said, instead of going to Miami or instead of buying that big screen TV, go ahead and pay your bill. One of the things I gotta tell you about the IRS and of the federal loan, they will take, or at least at that time, they would take almost nothing. You wouldn't have to give them a whole lot of money. Just make sure that whatever you agree to, you pay. I've had people, I've spoken, because sometimes even the IRS or the people, they'll call the job. And they'll, we'll put them on a $25 payment plan or whatever. So it depends on who you get. And you don't even have to really stress it. But whatever you do, use this window to make your arrangement. So when it does go back in effect, you will not be on that list. Trust me, you don't want to get on that list. It is really not a good move for you. Terry says, plus we all know the government owes us, but we can never owe them. Absolutely. Absolutely. So make sure you do your due diligence while you've been given this reprieve, and you'll be happy later. Trust me. All righty, here we go. Wow, story of the morning. 18-year-old Thea Russell has been charged and arrested for killing one 11-month-old, smothering them, suffocating them, I believe, and a 4-month-old little girl who did not die but who is now recovering while she was working at a daycare center. Now, they asked her why she did it, and her excuse was because she wanted the attention. Now, they say that she has made 911 calls in the past that have resulted in, the EMS showing up and them finding out that there's no emergency. She's had other attention-seeking behavior, and they were able to figure it out by process of elimination and her being the common denominator with both children. They also say, as far as they can see, there are no other victims. Now, here's my question to you all, because, you ladies, because we talk about this stuff all the time. So they're saying that, we got to get better with the hiring practices and blah, 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 blah. What additional things can they put in place that could ever possibly reveal someone who has issues with attention? So we know they do a background check. So they make sure that you're not on any child abuse registry and things like that. You don't have any other charges or a history of hurting children and, all kinds of stuff. We know they do the background check. We know they do the fingerprinting sometimes. What can they do for something like this? Or can they do anything for something like this? Brian says she ain't even going to have good luck for that. Oh, wait till she get into jail. She better hope she makes it there. Shantice, what can we do? Is there anything we can do to help with this situation of, I don't feel like I got enough attention, so I'm going to kill people, and now I'm going to go to jail, where if you leave it up to Brother Al, Big Bertha is going to give her a whole lot of attention?
You got that right.
Implement prayer. Prayer. Nobody talks to Jesus. Jesus puts you, let me tell you something. The Holy Spirit puts you onto a lot. Okay? Sometimes when your mind ain't even on that thing, you be minding your business, singing a tune, thinking about something else, and he'll, excuse me, ma'am, redirect your focus on over here. There's been everyone is so lackadaisical now. It's like, I have a daycare, I hire you, I may go through whatever screening process I have, or if it's like a commercial daycare center, meaning, it's like a whole separate facility, this is somewhere outside of your home, we may have protocols that we follow and background checks and drug testing and whatever you do. And then once you get the job, it's like, that's it. You never have any issues, you never have any problems. We should never random you, whether it's a mental random, a medical random, or anything. It's just, you're good for the rest of your life, forever and ever, amen. You're good with these kids. No one should ever check in, no one ever. And it's like, with everything that's going on now, no one thinks to pay close attention to the people that they have working with them. As a parent, I already have to concern myself with the person who is the head of, these daycare centers that are facilitated in these people's homes. Now I have to make sure which you should be doing it anyway as a parent, But now I have to make sure that I'm staying more on top of what you're staying on top of with whoever you have working with you with these children. It's like everyone just falls back. It's like, I hired Mary. Mary's good. Whatever I did to check Mary out is good. If I did that, and that's it. She showed signs of mistreating kids before she actually killed them. I really don't believe it's been this whole like I'm on point with feedings, I'm on point with diaper change, I'm on point with everything, nap time, and I just out of nowhere just start smothering the kids. I never ignored a cry. I never missed a feeding. I never let the pamper stay on 5 minutes too long, but I just started smothering the kids. There was some signs that she showed. So it's like, y'all need to keep up on these people. Do random mental checks. Do random drug testing. Do all of these things that will help the employees understand that you're staying on top of them. That you're not going to be able to just come up in here and just start doing whatever. Because at any given moment, somebody's going to be checking me out in some area of my life. So even if they don't come and say, open up, I'm about to swab you, or here's a cup, can you please go urinate in this? They're going to come and start evaluating my psyche or something, or paying real close attention to how I'm interacting with these babies who can't speak for themselves, who can't say, well, Miss or Mr. So-and-so did this, that, and the third. It's like, but they need to start checking up on these people more. It just seems like I hire you and then that's it. I walk off.
All righty. All right. Terrence says, she's going to get all that attention in jail. Just watch. Brian says, start giving out mental evaluations for these positions. Something that Shantice just got finished talking about. Terrence says, what bugs me out is the people that do these crazy things. I know there's signs showing that they are crazy, but the higher ups never want to do their job and pay attention and stop these things. I'm gonna follow that up, Terrence, when it's my turn. And we have a check-in from the Great Priest. Good morning. Thank you for stopping by. We have a check-in from our Pastor KL. Good morning. Hoping you're feeling a little better than yesterday. And Brian says, and that's the reason I don't have any children. All right. Lady Tamika, we talk about this all the time. We keep coming up on these different occurrences. My question this morning is, how can you check for something like this, someone who's crying for attention? How can we prevent this from happening? How can we follow up on this happening?
Right. And, this is one of those topics that come up plenty of times where I say somebody has to be the babysitter. Somebody has to do the job of looking beforehand, not waiting to, because it's ironic that after the occurrence happened, they found these police records. When you're applying for a job, especially with these types of jobs. I have my goddaughter. She works for a daycare, and she says they don't give you as much scrutiny as they do when you're working for a school. So those information that you would need working for a school is not as mandatory when you're working for a daycare, and they kind of work a little bit more laissez-faire. And so why not do the same thing? Because you're talking about daycare. That's before they even get to the school. You should be more scrutinized. Let's do those mental evaluations. Let me check and see how many times your name has come up with a police report. What kind of information? Right. How many times have you gone to the police? Do you have any issues with regard to harassment, or have you been harassed? Is there a restraining order? Because sometimes restraining orders are not always because you're being attacked. You could be the person that's attacking somebody else. All of those things are important. Check your history, because my thing is, if you don't know, then all of a sudden all these police reports pop up, and it just pop up. They've been there.
Right. That's the scary part. Some of this stuff is just like ABC 1, 2, 3. So you have someone working with children who can't speak, who can't report and explain anything. You don't check police records. You don't check hospital records. You know what? When you sign up for these jobs, you should automatically be signing a waiver that says, or something that allows you to check across the board. Because I want this job and I have a clear history. I have a clear chart. There's nothing for me to be worried about. So my thing is, how do you not check and dot your I's and cross your T's? How in the world are you telling me that now you see that she has 911 calls of emergencies, and then when they got to her house, there was no emergency? Then what did y'all check? Then you're not doing any thorough checking. Mm-hmm. And that's the sad part. There are many ways we can get something like this done. And like I said, if you want this job, understand that for the sake of our children, we need to make sure that you're okay. Now, if something slips through the cracks, it won't be us slipping through the cracks. It won't be our negligence or us turning our head. No, we ain't gonna be that desperate to hire people, because that's been some excuses and explanations. Oh, we were pressured, we needed staff, and no. Then stop taking children until you can get the proper staff up in there. Because see, now you're going to be faced with a lawsuit, because I'm coming after you for hiring her and not knowing that she was a wacko. Yep. So, there should also be, and I don't know if there is, but for those of you parents who have children in daycare and nursery, y'all have to start asking if there's a check on that daycare center or that nursery. Can we find out if they have reports of negligence or occurrences that have happened at that center? I don't know if you are, I don't know if you're not, but in these days and times, it's something that you need to be doing as well to make sure that you're not putting your child in a facility, especially for those who are putting children who can't talk. Right. It's one thing when we have school-age children, but it's another thing when you're putting these babies in these facilities and all you're relying on is checking them from head to toe when they come home. You don't know what's going on in there because they can't tell you about it. So yes, there are things that we can do as a daycare center and as a parent. Brian says, I'm a firm believer of homeschooling at that age. Okay. Some people can't, if you can, that's a wonderful ability to do so. Some people, unfortunately, they can't. So you're going to have to do some extra digging to find the right place and not just this hush and rush that you got going on. Terrence says, I think what they should do is if you could put ABC on a restaurant grade outside, they should put that on the types of stores, daycares. I agree, Terrence. Give them an external rating as well. That wouldn't be a bad idea at all. There are things that we can do, and we need to start getting this stuff done. So hopefully and prayerfully, there will be less and less occurrences of these things going on with our babies, and we will have to hear about more of this because these daycare centers will be doing more diligence in hiring, and parents will be doing more diligence in selecting. Thank you so much, ladies, for going through our socially conscious segment with me this morning. I found a topic that I thought was really, really good and interesting. Do we have a comment before I get started? Let me see what's going on here. Terrence says, I'm just tired of hearing all this stuff happening when all of this could have been avoided all this last minute. I didn't notice it. but I didn't notice it. See this type of issue. No, you know what? I think Terrence, let me tell you something. Before we started doing It's Due Time, I didn't look at the news. News is too much. It was just way too much. I don't want to hear about all this stuff. But now that I've been doing this for like 5.5 years, yeah, you're really noticing how much of this stuff is actually out there. And again, we're hoping that, with our discussions, there were just 3 different suggestions right here. You guys put, you, Brian, you, Terrence, put suggestions in the chat room about, what they can do. And hopefully somebody's listening. Hopefully somebody will listen and go, you know what? Let me try that. That's why God has us talking about it. Because it's not just the powers that be that need to be, listened to. Because half the time, what are they saying? They ain't even saying nothing. So we're all tired, and we're praying that the things that we're talking about and that we're mentioning will be listened to, will be heard, and somebody will begin to do some things a little differently. All righty. We have a list of things that they're saying why women in midlife are losing patience for things they once tolerated. And I'm sure all 3 of us can think of things that at one point we were very patient with. And now it's like, okay, you know what? My patience is gone. Gone. All right. Brian says homeschooling is the best approach to this issue. And it is for some people. But if you're living in a situation where everybody's got to go to work, then homeschooling is not an option, unfortunately, for some people. So you're going to have to do your due diligence and get out here. Listen, I raised all 3 of my kids, came through daycare centers, all 3 of them. And my middle girl went to a provider mother, they used to call it. So she was too young to go to a daycare center. So what they would do is they would put them in a home, what we would call a babysitter. They call provider mother. And by the grace of God, I had no problems. By only the grace of God, by me doing whatever little due diligence I could. So it's not like it doesn't work. But you've just got to do more, because now we're experiencing more from these people. Anytime you got somebody saying that I killed a kid and I hurt a kid because I wanted attention, Lord have mercy. And she's 18 years old.
And what about the lady that bent the baby's legs back? She was at a daycare.
Right. No, she was in a hospital.
Oh, okay.
No, that story. No. That story is from a nurse. That was the nurse. They found out what she had done was bend the baby's knees back so far to their chest, and she broke it. Yeah, we talked about it here.
Right.
A few times, because it wasn't until the last time, the 3rd time we did the story, is when they gave the actual breakdown of what she had done. So this is that we're experiencing more. So, homeschooling is excellent for those who can, but the reality is everybody can't. So we got our work, Yeah. Brian, you catching up late, my brother. You better hang out with us in the morning, because we talk about some things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there were 3 times. We talked about this nurse who had been fired because they found out that she was harming children, and she had killed some children. And these children were coming into the hospital. They were being born there at the hospital. And then for some reason, they were coming up with broken bones. And they were like, well, what's happening here? And come to find out, it was her. And this is what they said that she had done to some of the babies. So there's a lot of stuff. And you know what? It's not only daycares. This just proves it's not only daycares. It's in the hospital facilities. It's in the nursery schools. It's in the schools. It's everywhere you go. You have the possibility of coming across somebody who ain't right upstairs. So that's why we have to do our due diligence across the board, because we don't know where we're going to be confronted with this stuff. So back to our topic for this morning. We're talking about women who are in midlife, not midlife crisis, but who are in midlife and who are losing patience where they once were very tolerant. And one of the first things that comes up, and I was like, wow, they've spent decades absorbing everyone else's needs. Lady Tamika, are we able to identify with the fact that they're no more patience? Because guess what? It's about me now. I've been giving it, and it's about me. Is there any truth to that?
Yes. I've seen a lot of women across the board, that, they've been carrying, sibling stuff, best friend stuff, this person's stuff, and there comes a time when you say, enough with everybody else's issues. And you say, okay, now it's me because, I did such and such for you. I went over and beyond. A lot of times you're the last person to get whatever just rewards you feel that you are due. And then at one point you just wake up and you just say, okay, you know what? Enough, and now it's me. I've seen plenty of women, especially right around that phase of perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, all of those areas, you start to wake up and say, you know what? I've been carrying for this length of time. And then after a while, you just say, okay, enough.
All righty. Shantice, Lady Tamika agrees, but do you agree that now that this is a midlife era, that some women they feel that they've spent decades absorbing everyone else's needs, and now they've grown intolerant and impatient to this?
Absolutely. Especially when you learn that other people's needs that they need so much help with is caused by their own negligence and slowness in life. And it's like, I'm really taking on things that you're causing yourself, things that could be prevented. So now you got this whole plight that you don't have to have. And now I'm supposed to carry that? I got my own stuff that I'm trying to stay before the Lord to make sure I'm not being slower, ignorant regarding. Now I'm obligated, according to you, for whatever reason, I'm obligated to now carry the things that don't have to be carried at all, not even by you. No, I'm done. I've learned to pay attention to the things that people bring to me. And because I've learned to have discernment in the Lord from the start of their plight, I'm already sitting there with the face like, God already gave a remedy for this. And part of the remedy is, do not hand it to me. So no, I'm not, no thank you.
All righty. We got to check it from our girl, Adele. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for coming on and checking out the conversation today. So Brian is saying, no, that sounds like a woman with daddy issues. I don't know if which comment you're responding to. So maybe you want to clarify for me, Brian. We're talking about women who feel like, you know what, I've dealt with everybody else's issues. I'm putting everybody else's issues first. And I'm at the point right now that I'm impatient because I'm watching, what's going on with people. What I'm noticing is people don't care about themselves. They're not caring about themselves the way they should. They don't think much of themselves the way that they should. And therefore now that goes out into the atmosphere. And you're as a woman, since we're talking about the women who care, you're always trying to help and show love and, lend a hand and so forth and so on. And then after a while, it begins to weigh on you. And it's like, well, wait a minute. If you don't care about you, I can't continue to carry your weight. And like Shantice said, my own weight. I have my own issues. And, hey, what happens when you get to that point? Well, I become impatient and I'm intolerant of it. So, hey, That's where it goes. Adele says, y'all know I gotta come for the tea in the morning. Well, thank you so much, girl. We always love to have you. Brian says he's talking about women who are being impatient. Well, considering that Brian is a man and Brian does not understand about a woman, and you have 3 women telling you what is going on, and I don't have daddy issues personally, so, and I'm quite impatient at this point of my life. I don't know, I can't speak for the other ladies, but I personally don't have daddy issues, so that does not apply to me. So my feelings ain't hurt. Tamika, do you feel like you've got daddy issues and that's why you've become impatient?
No, ma'am. I had the best daddy ever.
All righty.
He was a gem and a half, and no,
amen.
I have daddy issues. Doesn't apply.
All righty. Okay, well, that's good to know. Shantae, do you have daddy issues that would feed your impatience?
I have serious daddy issues. Like serious, hardcore therapy meeting session daddy issues. At the same time, those daddy issues just help me to be aware of the buffoonery. It really helps when you learn how to look at those issues like, okay, these are problems, but not look at it through a whole bunch of anger, impatience, and ignorance, but see them for what they really are. It really helps, again, that discernment, it really helps to like give you a whole different pair of eyes and ears. And it's like, even with him, okay, you're my father here on earth. Hello, sir, but I'm sorry, you're gonna have to get whatever together. It just helps to heighten, your spidey senses. But it's not the fact because you have, daddy issues, but it just helps to put you on alert.
All righty. Well, thank you for your candidness. You can always rely on the due time crew, to be honest. Brian says, I'm not disturbing my peace. I will give you a help at hand, but if you're not progressing, I'm gone. And pretty much that's what the room is saying. So we agree with you. Get up out of there. All righty. We got a check-in from Jake. So welcome. Thank you for stopping by this morning. All right, we're talking about women who become impatient and intolerant to people in their midlife area of life. And one of the things they're saying is they've watched their partners not notice. Okay, and Brian is complimenting you, Shantice. Well said.
Thank you.
All righty. They've watched their partners not notice. What does that mean to you when you hear that, Tamika, when it comes to your level of patience?
The way that I see that, is men and women deal with situations differently. Just in general, a lot of times we'll ask for extra information. We'll start looking for ways that we can help, researching, going through our alliances to see, if I can't do it, maybe I can guide you with this and that, and a lot of times with men, I've had many of situations, whether I'm talking to my brother or whether I'm talking to Al or, some other man about a situation, and I'll ask, well, did you ask blah, blah, blah? Did you find out blah, blah, blah? Well, what happened with this? And they haven't given or done that due diligence because they handle things differently. They may refer you and then after that, they're gone, and so with that, because we involve ourselves so much, it encapsulates all that we do and all that we are, and I think that that's what causes the problem in that area.
All righty. Adele says, at this age, I'm still trying to have patience. Jesus, Lord knows. All right, Shantice. They say that it's because one of the reasons could be is they've watched their partners not notice.
heavy on what Lady Tamika said about men and women not dealing with things the same. A woman, for the most part, pays attention to every detail. So by the time she speaks on it, she's able to break down everything. Meanwhile, a man, if it's not life-threatening for him, and even sometimes when it is, it still goes over. If it's not important to him, if he doesn't deem it important, it goes. So it's like, I'm not dealing with trying to convince you that this is serious. Whatever this is. Like, I'm not doing that. If I gotta spend 5 weeks explaining why what happened 5 months ago was important, there's been 80 other things that didn't happen since then. So now think about all the time. If it takes 5 months to break down the importance of everything, we ain't never gonna get nowhere. Now before you know it, somebody's planning somebody's funeral because one of us is dead. Anybody got time for this? No.
All righty. Brian says, well, if your partner didn't notice clearly, either your partner does not care or checked out if he doesn't notice your well-being. Absolutely. Adele says, I thought it was just me that felt that way, Shantice. They've watched their partners not notice. You know, here's the problem. And you ladies have said it. You know, there's a patience. Here's the gist of what this list is talking about. That you have been patient and now have become intolerant. And men and women don't have the same patience levels. So now you have a woman who she's noticed her partner has not noticed. That ain't new. She's not waking up on Thursday saying, you didn't notice? She's realized this a long time ago. But the patience, because when you say something, they actually ask in more ways than one for patience. So therefore, she's given that level of patience until she can't take it anymore. So it's not that they just notice it today, but the fact that the patience has been worn out. That's pretty much what is going on. And at that point, it's become an intolerant level. I wasn't going to touch on this one, but since it was kind of touched on, I'm gonna allow it to hit the floor. They mentioned hormonal changes contribute to your lack of patience. I'll give you that one first, Shantice.
Yes. What's going on in my body that sometimes I'm not aware of, or I'm not realizing, or if I am realizing it, but you know, it's not like it's something that I can just flick a switch and turn off and on. It does have a lot to do with my tolerance level, because again, I now have to learn to be patient with my body. You know, our bodies as women, I could be using a certain product or wear a certain type of underwear or something, eat certain type of foods, mix certain type of foods for years, and it has no effect. Now all of a sudden, I have to make sure I wear cotton underwear. I have to make sure that, you know, I'm wearing these type of pads during my menstrual. I have to make sure that I'm no longer eating. I remember back in 2021, I don't know what happened, January 2021, but my hygiene just switched up on me like crazy. I've never been a person as a child or as an adult who had hygiene problems ever. I always prided myself on the fact that, thank you God, my breath don't stink when I talk to people, because I know what that's like. People act like they don't know their breath stink. You taste it, stop talking to people. Okay. All of a sudden, the odor just switched. And I remember kept going to Pastor Steph, and she's like, if you don't get out my face, I'm like, okay, do you smell this? Smell that. I didn't smell it. She's like, if you don't move away, and I'm like, listen, because I don't want, and thank God it was during COVID, but I still didn't want to be around people because despite popular belief, you smell yourself before other people do. But considering the understanding and relationship that the Lord has ensured has always been in place between Pastor Steph and myself, I felt I could go up to Pastor Steph anytime and say, hey, do you smell this? Or if I walk past you real quick, let me know if the wind hits you a certain way. Like, we got to make sure we love each other that much to do these things, okay? But I had to really learn to be patient with myself because I felt my nerves just like, I felt I was taking myself through a whole lot. So I had to calm myself down, which caused stress, which caused sweat, which could cause more body odor. So you have to learn how to be patient with yourself during these times, but it can definitely change your attitude and your patience, because again, as women, things just switch up that we have no control over time, and now we have to not only learn what it is, but then get acclimated to the new way we have to do things, the new way we have to eat, the new way we have to, now if I have to use a different type of product that costs more money and I may not have the money at the time, it's a lot. So it can definitely contribute to our patience.
Absolutely. Lady Tamika, we're talking about hormonal changes can definitely play into why the patience level has turned to intolerance.
All of a woman's life, from the time that she gets her menstrual cycle to menopause, we are literally changing. There are all kinds of things that affect, just speaking personally, prior to menopause, there were times when I had to shift things, basically, change things that I eat, change my hair, because certain hair products, we don't even realize that certain hair products affect you, and heaven forbid if you're on any type of medication.
Yeah.
Medication can affect you. I was taking birth control pills to adjust some hormone issues in my health. And in addition to that, it made me gain weight. And in addition to that, it adjusted my mood, and at first I didn't know it, and one of the things that we as women need to do is always have a sister circle that you can talk to, because, am I tripping or is it just me, and even with that, have a male partner, doesn't necessarily have to be your husband.
Intimate. Right.
If you're not married, you've got a brother somewhere that you can say, listen, give me a clear surveil of what you see, because sometimes I can't see it. A man may say, well, a certain time of the month, you do get a little feisty. I don't see it. So now I know to be able to govern myself. Maybe I might need to back up from friends around that time frame because I'm not aware that my mood shifts, but he does. And as a male, it is important, and then, when you get to the process of perimenopause, menopause, and post-menopause, trust and believe that will take you on another tantrum again. You have hormones. I remember one time this lady, I said good morning, I had my greeting and everything, and she just went right on as if I didn't say good morning and went right to her topic. And something in the back of my head triggered it. I was like, I just need to check you, and I literally was like, and I'm fighting with my brain. I'm looking at her smiling, but in the back of my head, I'm like, I'm so glad you don't see what's going on back here. I have to have this kind of conversation, up with God.
Right.
And you, if I don't, I'm going to jump across this counter, and so, yes, hormones can clearly affect, and a lot of times people, especially men, don't realize the fight and the struggle that we go through on a daily basis just to maintain. I got to look like this, but in my head, there's all kinds of stuff that goes on.
Right. Yeah. So let me read Brian's comment. He says, that's why it's very important to constantly talk to your partner, especially women, so you can be ahead of the curve. He said, this is very informative. So addressing what Brian said, because I agree with you ladies 100%, because when Shantice was talking, I thought about medication. I remember when I was taking medication for the fibro, man, I had to tell that the doctor, I was like, no, that's all right, I'll deal with it. This here, because anything for fibromyalgia, because they cannot literally attack the pain, it works on your head, and you're either on a zone of or you're over in the corner crying because you're depressed. And I remember standing at, they would be talking, go, gremlins, 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 stop talking. Any little thing would just drive me up the walls. So, medications and all kinds of things. And, again, I had a hysterectomy at, what was I, 42? So that's kind of young. And so now you're pulling stuff up out of my body that kind of adjusts hormones. So now on top of that, I'm taking medication from my brain. Oh, good Lord. That was just an utter mess. So in addition to what what you were saying, I definitely agree with everything and the medication. Here's what I wanted to talk about with men, since we're here with Talk to Your Partner. I have had couples, and this has been one of the main topics, where he is going bonkers. Oh, I can't deal with her, and she's acting like this and she's acting like that, and she changes up, and so of course Pastor Steph always asks questions, and sometimes I ask the very obvious questions. She just had a baby. Do you realize what her body is going through right now? She can't control any of the stuff that she's going through. Do you understand that she's going through it? But you wanted the baby. But you didn't anticipate that there would be some hormonal changes that you would have to experience, and you would have to adjust to her. I've had couples where somebody was on a contraceptive, like you mentioned, Lady Tamika, and now she's all over the place because her body is adjusting to all of the different hormonal shifts that are going on, because you don't want to have no kids. So listen, we can't have it both ways. She's getting older. Not only that, women sometimes go through a menopausal period earlier than years ago. So now you have women who are in their 30s actually experiencing this shift in hormones, and they don't even know it's coming, because guess what? Nobody can tell when it's really going to come. They may be able to anticipate it. It is also hereditary. So this stuff gets passed down. And now maybe big mama didn't have no husband. So when she was going through all of that, she have nobody else to worry about. You got a husband, you got kids, you got a job, you got extracurricular activities where people are relying on you. You're kind of being pulled all ways, and now you're trying to get you together. So there's a lot of things that men in relationships, they have to adjust to, and they're not taking too kindly to it as well. So how does that help her? That doesn't do very good in the relationship department, because now you're resentful that you have to deal with what she's going through, and she's resentful at the fact that, I'm going through this, I can't help it, but you are impatient and you won't give any extra understanding or extra help. So there's a lot of things that go on, in this one particular area. And, so everybody needs to kind of understand, for those of you who experience fibroids or endometriosis and all of these kind of things, God help you, because those things add on extra hormonal, imbalance. So, everybody needs to be aware. Males and females need to be aware of these things. Even if you meet someone in your 30s, understand that if you plan on making a life with this woman, guess what? She's going to go through some things. And are you ready? Can you handle it? Because if you're going to get there, we 10 years deep, and now you're talking about, all of a sudden she's changing, but you don't understand that there are changes that she's going to experience. Then there may be some problems that you may not welcome and you don't want to deal with. Let's see what else is going on in here. Trust me, ladies, Brian says, I understand just how to be patient. And he says, wait, what women in their 30s have that issue? Yes. These hormonal changes can take place even in some women in their late 20s are experiencing. It may not be many, but there are women even in their late 20s who are experiencing some hormonal changes. Again, especially if it's from, past, it's hereditary. So you don't know how soon you're going to get this, a hormonal shift. So, everybody's kind of got to be aware of it, which goes back to asking your mother and father questions. Ask them questions. Know your family history. And here's the problem, and I'm going to address this, and we could talk about this because only God dictates where these conversations go. We got a few more minutes. Because we don't have lineage information. We have people who don't know their fathers, some who don't know their mothers, some parents don't know about their parents. This is a problem, because now when you go to the doctor and they ask you for this history, you sitting there going, I don't know. I don't know. And you honestly don't know. So now we have to do our due diligence in finding out this history. And I'll give it to you first, Lady Tamika.
Man, this thing is huge, and a lot of times you really need that conversation. It's so crucial, and unfortunately sometimes you don't have anywhere to go. I remember back in the days that they used to tell you, don't tell the doctor nothing.
Right.
How is that helping you? I've had, some research, with regard to, my mother had some health issues, women-wise, women's health issues. And with me, it was hereditary. I had issues with fibroids. I've had issues with endometriosis, which they trigger the mind. They do all kinds of things.
Right. Definitely hormonal issues.
There are times when you're fine, and then there are times when, especially for an endometrial woman, her brain shuts off certain times, and there's nothing that she can do, to trigger it. Like I'll give you, for instance, went to the kitchen to go get water, left the cup in the living room, went in the kitchen, stood over the thing to go get water. I blinked, like, okay, what was it that I was doing? And I stood there for about 7 seconds. And I was like, oh, the water. Oh, the cup is in the living room. Went back to get the cup in the living room, and then I was like, I'm sitting there with the cup. What was it I was doing? So now I got to remember back again. So then, okay, got the cup, went in the kitchen, got the water, and then came back, and then it was like, okay, what was I doing before that? And again, these are things that you have to be, trying to give Brian, some of the things. And this happened before menopause. Then menopause hit. And so now I don't have the endometrial issues. Now I have menopause things that do kind of somewhat the same thing. Or sometimes I'm talking about a conversation and I can't figure out what the word is that I want to use, in a conversation. So I have to, and the person I'm speaking to most of the time when that happens is a male. He's looking at me like I've lost my mind, so those things are important, and we need to go out what your history it is, please women, get your checkups, get your mammograms, go to your OBGYN, do your own self-checks, check all of that, because you never know when you're going to need, for people who have fibromyalgia, endometriosis, and I could go on and on and on, because there's so many different health issues that affect, and then when you're in a relationship and you're talking about, So we're being real transparent. We're getting older. Sometimes there's an issue with erectile dysfunction. That's a conversation that needs to be talked about, because you never know when that's going to happen.
Right.
If you're a married couple and something is happening and something is not working, or if the body, for endometrius, sometimes when you're having intercourse, it's painful. We're talking about real life things, because these things happen. And when you're talking about relationships, you're trying to figure out why y'all not getting along, and sex is vital when you're talking about marriage. And so those things, it could be something in your head when we're talking about erectile dysfunction. It could be something in the body. There could be a medication that you could take. There could be something over the counter. These are real life issues, and conversation, which is something that a lot of times we'd rather just, let it go by and not say anything. But then you got weeks and months, and you're married to this person for life. And so those conversations are vital. Get the research that's necessary so that you can keep a vital marriage. And, a good relationship. Going into marriage is the same thing. If you're going through changes, don't let the person just think that you're losing it. Talk about it.
Right. Break it down. Very good. Thank you for that. Shantice, we're talking about why and how it's important, how important it is to make sure you have these discussions with your family so that you can talk about it with your doctor and they can help you prepare for some of the stuff that you will or possibly will experience.
Yes, making sure you speak to your family. I tried to do my due diligence to speak to my family and didn't get the information that I needed, because pride said, let me say I'm good, only for God to show that you ain't. And I'm like, didn't I just ask you? I mean, I already saw the dysfunctions, but are there any other dysfunctions or medical issues that I need to be aware of? Because I'm now getting older and I need to make sure that, I'm bringing certain things up to my PCP, because I've actually had my PCP since I was 13. I'm now 40. And as holistic as she's been dealing with me, there's still things that she needs to be made aware of so her antennas can continue to stay up. So as you're speaking to your family, you have to make sure you're being honest, because this ain't the time for pride. This stuff is real. As we're learning that you can't even eat healthy foods with certain medications, like, come on, it's gotten that strenuous, like that detail, like you have to pay that much attention to, okay, God is saying eat better. So I'm already making the switch from potato chips in the morning to a piece of fruit. Now, God, you know how trying that is for me. But now if I gotta take a certain medication, I can't eat grapefruit with this antibiotic, and it's just like, all right. So I need to make sure that I'm aware of any mental, medical things that's going on in the family, physical, is there anything hereditary? I'm now finding out all kinds of illnesses that's been going on, surgeries that's been going on with certain family members, everyone keeping things under wraps, but no one is considering, well, you know what? Let me let her know, even though I would choose to keep this private, let me let her know so that if this is hereditary, she knows what to look out for. She knows to make sure that she's going. How will we now encouraging the next generation to take care of themselves if we're not prepping them for it?
Right.
To let them know, listen, this is what I just went through, in spite of me taking care of myself, or because I did not take care of myself, or some things are just inevitable because this is what runs in the family, so on and so forth. And for the most part, it's with men. Men don't want to go take care of themselves, nor do they want to be honest about what they're going through. It's not about you. Especially men love to reproduce. Well, guess what, sir? You're gonna have, there's multiple ways you have to take care of your children. It's not only you go pick them up and put them down. No, you have to also make sure that you're taking care of yourself before you reproduce, and that you're helping them to stay aware as they're getting older. Okay, these are the things to look out for. Make sure you don't do this because this runs in the family, so on and so forth. So it's very imperative. So same way it's important that we speak to the family, you have to make sure that you're being honest and that you're being aware so that everyone can be on point. Everyone has to be on point.
Absolutely. I'm going to tell a quick story before we close. There was a couple who was aging together, and she was experiencing hormonal changes in her, body, and it was messing with her mentally. And so now she's becoming more conscientious of little things. She's, not feeling so sure about herself. Her self-esteem is going down. So she's noticing that her partner is not engaging in sex with her as much. And when she reaches over to him, there's not any response. His body's not responding. So she's suffering in silence, and she's asking, at one point, okay, well, what's going on? It's like, oh no, I'm just not in the mood, blah, 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 blah. So this is not working on her very well at all. So then we end up, the couple end up going to the doctor because he's having other issues. So she accompanies him to the doctor. And what ends up happening is he says, you know what? I'm going to tell the doctor everything. So he tells the doctor everything, and the doctor's like, okay, well, I see some other issues here. We've taken blood. I've seen some other issues. What's going on with this? What's going on? It's like, oh, no, I'm not having this. No, I'm not having that. Finally, it comes out. He says, well, your kidneys are not functioning properly. I can see from the blood work, and all these things I'm asking you, it's not affecting you. And he says to the doctor, well, I just noticed that I'm not getting an erection. The doctor said, I've been here with you for 2 hours. That's one of the main things that will happen when your kidneys for a male are not operating properly. You will not get an erection because of blood flow, blah, 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 blah. So he then tells the partner, hey, so now you've got all this chaos in a relationship because all of these different things are happening to everybody's body. And now the marriage is in an uproar because she's going through her hormonal shift, he's going through his shift, and now nobody knows how to really express what's going on. And they have they have children, and now she's not realizing that, you know what, I got to pay attention to what's going on with him because my children could possibly have this issue. But unfortunately, he doesn't know a whole lot about his family history because he did not grow up with his mother, and he was only partially in a relationship with his father. So look at the chaos that can go futuristically. So, we're talking about us passing down vital information to our family members, to our children, to your niece, to your grandchildren, so that they can know when they go to the doctor, they can put this information out there. And now you can now kind of get ahead of the game. Now the doctor can tell you, well, you know what? Be on the lookout for this, or you know what? You don't have to worry about this. My mother had hyperthyroidism for years, for decades. She had hyperthyroidism. I went to the doctor, they checked my thyroids, and she said, your thyroids are better than a 20-year-old. By the time my mother was my age, she was a mess with her thyroid. And I don't know if anybody notices this or knows this, but people who experience thyroid issues, it affects your activity and your mood. If you have hyper, and that's the high, then you are erratic, you're excited easily. If you have hypo, which is a slower thyroid issue, that will have you fatigued, depressed. Yo, this stuff is real. So, we're talking about today, why women are not as patient in midlife as they used to be. And it's a lot of different factors. And I'm going to hold on to this list because we've only touched on a couple of them. And we're going to continue this, God spares, next week. And we can get a little more information out there. But this has been vital information. My Due Time crew, thank you so much for your contribution into today's conversation. And we pray you have a blessed day.
God bless you.
Thank you. All right, let's. All righty, let's get this last comment. Somebody's asking, Christianity? Absolutely. Christianity is not only about in the Bible, is what we can do for our brothers and sisters in regards to information. We have Brian who says, right, I'm taking my vitamins, drinking my beet juice, eating fresh produce. Health is wealth. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we definitely promote good health here. This is the temple of the Lord. And we help people understand that there's a major shift that goes on in our lives. And it doesn't matter whether you're a Christian or not. You have a body, and that body can affect what you eat, can affect you, what medications you need to take can affect you. And all of this can touch actually on your behavior. And now people are looking at you like you're crazy. Like, I thought you were a Christian. I thought you didn't act like this. I thought you weren't act like that. But there are things that you can't even understand, even in yourself. And I brought up the hyperthyroidism because I have someone in the family on the opposite side of the family. So this is not necessarily in my, someone who married into the family, who at one point had to get her thyroid, had to have thyroid surgery. And her family used to talk about what made her go to the doctor was because her family said she would get so excited. Her eyes would be bulging. She'd be screaming at the top of her lungs. She was just like out of sorts. And that wasn't quite who she was. And they were like, okay, no, you need to go to the doctor. And when you go to she was like, I do go to the doctor. Like, no, you need to mention that we're saying this. Because most times when you go to the doctor, you're not quite telling what the family is saying. You're kind of giving your information. So when I went yesterday, the first thing the doctor asked is, what's new? I'm not necessarily going to answer her and say, well, my kids said that I don't do this and I do that. We don't say that. But because they impressed it upon her, please mention that we say this. Because of her age and answering other questions, they were able to make the decision, I think we need to check your thyroids. And sure enough, it was so bad that they literally had to cut into the thyroid glands and do, some modifications. So this stuff is so important. And like I said, as the body of Christ, we need to help keep one another informed. And that's what I love about this platform that God has given. We have taught and we have learned so much just dialoguing and just hearing. When the ladies were talking, I'm older than the both of them, but they were both teaching me something. And it's so important that we listen to one another. And, it's part of what the Bible tells us, be swift to listen, hear, not so swift to speak, because in your silence, you will pull in more information than when you're talking. And some people just like to talk. They feel like they need to be heard. They feel like they need to talk. And you would not even understand the value of listening. You know, we just got finished doing our wow story of a young lady, 18 years old, who has had a problem with seeking attention. And she sought attention to the degree that she would hurt children, even kill one child, because she wanted attention. Oh, we better talk. We better talk. We better talk about the signs. We better talk about family history. We better talk about mental illness. And I'm going to tell you something. One thing about the church, I don't care what faith you were, when it comes to church, that was a taboo. That has always been a taboo issue. Mental illness. They'll say, go pray, go pray, go pray. Everything is not answered with prayer. The word of God tells us that prayer without works, faith without works is dead. The prayer part is your faith. You're trusting God for what he does, for what he only can do. But what's your works? Do I go to the doctor and help them understand what's going on? I come from, my grandmother had a mental illness. She had schizophrenia. And we noticed if she didn't take her medication, woo, was she a different person. But when she got that medication, she was fine. She was loving. She was quiet. She was more quiet. She could converse and communicate differently. And I have family members who say they notice something is off, but they won't go get it checked out. Who does that? And they have children. Oh my God, they have children. So you don't want to acknowledge your history, not only for you, but for your children, because there will be a day you may have grandchildren. So now your children don't know. Your children's children don't know. Nobody can tell a doctor that, you know what, this is my family history, blah, blah. It's nothing to be ashamed of. This ain't got nothing to do with you. This happened before you. So I never understand all of this hush hush, all of this silence, all of this embarrassment, and nobody wants you to talk about family things. Oh, you can't share that. Do you know how much damage we do in all this silence? How much harm we do when we don't share? You know, the word of God says that someone else was delivered based on your testimony. And if God is giving it to you to give, I don't care whether it's basic health information or whether it's family history, then you are obligated to do it. Pride is something that is not on God's good list. It is something that we owe to one another. We don't just owe one another, oh, praise the Lord, oh, I'm blessed and highly favored. No, we don't owe one another that more than we owe a certain level of love. Because let me tell you something, love is hard. Because love will mandate you do a whole lot of things that are uncomfortable. So don't tell me you love me if you want to shut my mouth. Don't tell me you love me if you're worried about everything I'm going to say. You don't love your child if everything they're going to say, shut up, shut up, shut up, don't say it, don't say it. Well, what are you worried about? Let God do his work. And here's the thing. We don't realize that there are some people who need to speak more than others. So here you have this 18-year-old girl who's clearly crying out for help. And nobody's paying attention. And I wish that somebody, one of my three, would come tell me I'm taking a job. And I'm looking at you knowing that there's certain things that ain't right with you. Oh, no. Yeah, I may have to do that love thing. Yeah. And somebody will say, well, Dad, Steph, no. Look at what's happening right now with this 18-year-old girl. She has murdered a child she's hurt another baby. These were babies, one 11 months, one 4 months. These are babies that could you have helped that not happen? Could you have helped prevent that from happening? She is now going to spend how many of her years in jail? Could you have helped that? Could you have prevented that from happening? Excuse me. So when we talk about this love thing, this Christianity, and we love one another because you're my daughter or my son or my grand, know what true love is about and what it looks like. And it may not be something that makes you smile, but it's something that you may have to do that will make you uncomfortable. God has had me reveal some things that Lord knows. I'm like, I gotta say that. Because I come from being a very private person. I wasn't the type that really talked about myself. I just keep the stuff to myself. It wasn't like, oh my God, I can't talk about it. That was not, but I was just private. And as God started using me more and more, I became usable more and more. And there were certain things I wouldn't talk about, and God would say, excuse me, talk. I need you to tell it. I gave you that testimony because it's going to help somebody. You may never see the person it helps, but I gave you that testimony so that you could share. So there were times when I would prefer just not to talk about it. And he would say, excuse me, you belong to me. Hello, I'm here. I'm the one that dictates what goes on with your life. It's my life. So you don't have the final say. So when you see things like this, don't question it. Mind your business and just take in what God is giving, because it might be for you more than you think is for you. Certain things that God has his people doing looks real weird, looks real unconventional, because the people of old, the older Christians, were quiet. They didn't want to, whatever goes on in this house stays in this house. And oh my God, look at the stuff that has gone on behind closed doors that never got addressed because everybody was so private. Because nobody could understand why so-and-so was acting the way he or she was. And then later on, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe this was happening. And oh my God, this was happening right underneath my, underneath my nose. Yeah, because everything, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Let's do the godly thing. And sometimes that godly thing is not all that nice. Sometimes it's not going to win you favor with people. Sometimes it'll make people not want to be around you. Now, I'm not talking about you going out on your limb saying it's God. I ain't talking about that, because a lot of us do that. I'm talking about when God has you moving in certain ways. God has you saying certain things. God has you speaking up about certain things. And you've got to be that bold individual. One thing I love about the Due Time crew, the transparency is crazy. And God says, I don't want no cowards in my kingdom. When I give you that holy boldness, you can't be standing over in the corner talking about, well, I don't really want to say. And, I was just so scared. And I'm so shy. That ain't who God is looking for. He said, I need those people who are bold in the Lord. The same way you were bold in your sins, I need you to be bold for me. Look at Paul. As drastic as he was with murdering and jailing people, when he went over on the other side and started working for the Lord, look how drastic that thing was. He didn't come up short, because he had given the world and the enemy everything. And now when God called him, he gave God everything. You've got to be on that same level to say, God, when I was in my sinful days, I was bold. I didn't care nothing about who knew it. I did what I wanted to do. I was happy about it. And now I'm going to be shy when it comes to you. I'm going to be private when it comes to you. Nah, there's an imbalance there that's just not quite what God is requiring. Too much is given, much is required. And it's going to be an adjustment. I'm not interested in how hard this adjustment is. Because again, when we were in our sinful days, we didn't care. We just did what we did. But now when people talk about the Lord, we don't respond right because, I really didn't know what to say. But you knew what to say before. And that life that you had before, oh Lord. I've heard some stories and I'm like, wow. But yet on this side of the fence, you all timid. Oh, if I'm thinking like this, then I don't even want to know what God is thinking. Because if it weren't for him, we wouldn't have made it out of those sinful days. But through it all, what a gracious God to preserve who we were. Because what we don't understand is some of the things that you had going on when you were sinful, God's going to take and use for his kingdom here on earth. Oh yeah, you ain't dropping everything. All that crazy boldness you had, he's going to rely on that boldness. He's going to rely on that boldness for his kingdom. For you to now help him save souls here. Win souls here on earth as he is doing in heaven. You can't lose everything. He takes those things and he reshapes it and he remolds it and he uses it for his glory. So he's allowed us to master that thing. Because now, when we are working for him, it ain't going to be nothing. It ain't going to be nothing. And I'll tell you something. I was never as forthright as I am now. I used to hate being in front of people. Oh, when they call, I was like, oh gosh, I don't like this. Now, child, please. Now, please. But there were other things I did that I had no problem doing. And that the Spirit of the Lord had to help me understand. Okay, well, come on over. Here's X marks the spot. This is what you're going to do for God. So when we talk and we're talking about this, going to the doctor and doing all this stuff, this is our responsibility. Maybe what we need to do is step up out them church doors so that we can understand that we got more responsibility than going up, sitting up in church once a week, saying praise the Lord and putting some money in the plate and singing some songs. We've got a job to do here in the vineyard of the Lord. And I have made it my business to tell God whatever it is you need me to do. Guess what? I'm there. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, has he made me keep to my word. As you get older, it will get a little more crazy for you. You will not have as much patience as you did, men and women. We're talking about the women today because it's Women's Day. It's Ladies' Day here on this due time. But let's make sure that we are servicing not just God, but God's people. Because we can't service God without properly servicing God's people. Keep that in mind. If our mouths are shut, if we got all this pride, if we're embarrassed, we don't want to share, are we really serving God? Because God's requirements is that we serve his people. He says, go out into the nations and disciple. How we discipling people and we ain't never been nowhere? We ain't never been through nothing. We don't know anything. All we know is the Bible. Well, how do you know the Bible if nothing ever gets applicable to your active life? You think you're going to memorize everything in the Bible, but yet when people see you standing still, that's not service to God. There's everything in this word of God talks about what we do. Not just what we think, not just what we feel, not just the way we're supposed to act, and so holy. But there are so many other things that people need. And one of the things that people need is to see that we're human. And I don't mean them human frailties and faults. That's not what I'm talking about. But what I'm saying is that we can have a good time in the Lord and still be a blessing. So make sure we do our due diligence across the board. Okay? You've been watching It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. Join us Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. where we discuss matters of the heart, mind, and spirit. As you go through your day, be sure to set your mind on things that are above, not on things that are on the earth. They will only serve as a distraction. Remember, prayer changes things. It's Pastor Steph signing off, and I want to thank my Due Time crew for always coming through big time. Thank you for hanging out with us and keeping that chat room alive. For those of you who are on our podcast, thank you so much. The numbers have soared. Oh my God, the numbers have soared. We thank you so much. Across this world, you have been a blessing for us, and you have helped to remind us of why we do what we do. Please do not miss this opportunity to give Christ your life right now. Please do not miss this opportunity to strengthen that relationship with the Lord right now, because later it's not promised to any of us. Make sure you check us out tomorrow night. Another episode of My Two Cents right here with Shantice and our brother Ainsley. We will be reviewing The Pick Up, and that's a Netflix movie. We will be reviewing 0 Day. That's a Netflix series. And we will be reviewing Mayor of Kingstown. That's a Paramount Plus, MGM Plus series. All right. So come on in and help us determine whether we need to pick it or click it. But until then, we have a special guest on with us tomorrow morning. God spares, you know her, but she's back to make a brand new announcement and to give you something else that God has given her. Until our therapeutic Thursday morning, I love you.